So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom, and no, don't worry, don't switch off. I'm not going to talk about Fochgate, wargaming's evil practices, the joy of premiums. Well, I might talk about that. I'm not going to go there. There's been enough said about all this crap that is going on, and as I say at the end of every video when I remember, it's only a frigging game. Well, I don't say the frigging bit. It's only a game, right? We're just playing with pixels. We're supposed to be having fun. It's not like anyone's died or anything. This is just a game. Get over yourselves. Get over it. If you don't enjoy what's going on, stop playing the game. Go outside. It's a lovely fresh day out there. Here in the UK, it's lovely and sunny. It's beautiful. Go outside. Meet some people. Have a drink. Make some friends. Not the online variety. It's not important in the great scheme of things. It's not like there's poor souls in Manchester who've either lost loved ones or been maimed or disfigured by what happened on Monday night when they were enjoying what they love to do, which is go to watch a concert. Well, I love to do that too. Not necessarily that concert, but anyway, in the great scheme of things, this is so frigging stupid. And to all the idiots that just do you know what everyone says about online communities being toxic, and it really, wargaming one is truly toxic. Some of the comments you get when you put anything up about this Fochgate stuff are just extraordinary. I mean, I've been accused of being everything from a wargaming apologist to a lot worse, but what I'm grateful for, the number of people who have liked is exceeded the ones who disliked videos, and I appreciate that. So thank you for those who did it, who listened, who thought. Some of the stuff I was saying was intended to be a bit thought-provoking, maybe a little bit contentious, but at the end of the day, this is a flipping game we're playing. It's not anything worse than that. Now I turned, should I say this? I turned 51 yesterday. So on Wednesday. Now I know it's extraordinary. I look so much younger than that. Yeah, 51. Most of you think you're probably dead by the time you get to 51. You've probably got grandparents that are 51, or let alone parents that are 51. Yeah, old folks do play this game too. And one of the benefits of being this kind of age is that you've seen all this crap before. And when people get so excited about it and go on and on and on about this, that, and the end of the world is nigh and blah, 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 you can just say bollocks, it's not. The end of the world is when one of these things goes off, a mushroom cloud. That's when the end of the world happens, not before. Now, the one thing I will say about this whole thing in ramblings this week is I'm very sad to see that two of the video people I follow and have followed since I started this game have decided to hang up their boots in terms of being community contributors, and that's Jingles, Mighty Jingles. This was his video announcing the fact he's no longer going to be a community contributor because of all the shenanigans. And Jingles was one of the first people I found when I was looking up how to get a little bit better in the game. Loved his reviews, loved his tone, his approach. Kind of inspired me to do the videos myself. He's actually slightly younger than me, believe it or not, but he kind of inspired me, and I learnt a lot from what he did and his approach and his style. It'd be a shame if he cuts back on his World of Tanks and World of Warships stuff. However, I think he's pretty much there anyway. I think there's definitely been a drop off of interest in World of Tanks as far as I can see from Jingles. The other one is Aged Pointy Head Jedi, isn't it? The other guy who I really like his videos too, and he has said that he will continue to do as much World of Tanks and World of Warships as he previously did, but he's no longer going to be a community contributor, and that's his prerogative entirely. I think it's sad that those go. And the other one I felt very sad for, and he got so much abuse, and I think it's just ridiculous, really. Go back to my early comments. It's just a bloody game. Was Quickie Babe. He did a video the other night, and I don't think it's an exaggeration to say he seemed to be on the verge of tears, and I felt very, very sorry for him. He seems a nice chap. Never met him. he does a style of video which is very unconfrontational, very easy to listen to. He talks about stuff. He gives you good tips, good advice. He doesn't go into any of the controversy, and yet he seemed to get pulled into this whole Fochgate stuff and blamed left, right, and centre, and it clearly upset him. And I felt sorry for him. So hopefully, again, this toxicity of some people in this community is astounding. So just grow up, get a life. It's a game. Go back to doing something. If you don't enjoy it, go and do something else. Enough said. Right, on with other. So we're on the subject of what the future holds for World of Tanks. Were we? Yeah, I think we were. Anyway, it's all getting lost in translation. So I would certainly recommend people to. I always recommend people to read the Daily Bounce. It's a fantastic blog about World of Tanks and World of Warships. If you love this game and enjoy playing it, then Harkonnen does a fantastic job with this thing. And he posted something, and so Harkonnen, who runs this blog, is a community contributor as well. He posted a really interesting article about this whole shenanigans and all that's going on. And I'm not going to go back over all the stuff we've already talked about incessantly, but he's talking about the future of the game. And he makes some really, really good points in this. And I would say recommend people read this if they're interested in the future. And he's highlighted a number of things himself, but how this company Wargaming is transitioning. Basically, reading between the lines, it's the game is in a transition point. It started out like a lot of games did as a sort of almost like a personal adventure. The guys wanted to develop something because they were players and they wanted to have a good game and blah 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 blah, and it's turned into a business, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Businesses have to make money. That's what they if not, it'd be communism, and we've seen how that worked out, or those of us old enough anyway. So he talks about the fact back in the 2010, you had Victor Kisley, the CEO, handing out T-shirts at events, and people being really passionate about it. But he also makes the point, as he does here, we need to remember Wargaming is a company that is there to make profit, whether you like it or not. Their model is free to play, and still is. And if you really believe at the moment it's just pay to win, based on OP tanks and any other shit, you haven't seen anything. And he's dead right. Back in the day when you had to pay money, gold, to buy ammunition, to buy gold rounds, the game was dominated by a few individuals and a few clans who bought loads of it, and they willingly spent lots of money on the game to basically outperform everybody else. And I didn't play then, but from what I hear, it was absolutely horrendous. And it was, as he says here, true pay to win, because unless you if you wanted to compete in a stronghold game, if they had them back then, or kind of clan competitions, if your clan didn't have the sort of financial clout to compete, you might as well not bother. And Wargaming changed that, and given their due, they changed that, and they basically made gold ammunition available to everyone. Now, maybe they should have taken gold away entirely at that point. I would still argue that they should, even now, just limit it. So, I've been a long supporter of 20% maximum of your ammo load being gold, being premium shells. The rest has to be regular shells. And this whole business about, you look at the Type 4 heavy, the Type 5 heavy, the Japanese Super Beast 9 and 10s, they have a premium HE round which is identical in terms of characteristics to the standard rounds. It just does 300 average damage more, but you pay extra cost for it, and there's just no logic to that at all. Anyway, there's nothing to stop somebody just stocking up their Type 4 heavy, Type 5 heavy with only premium rounds, and that just seems ridiculous. You know, I had a big row with one of my videos talking about Sir Foch, and the only time I've ever encountered Sir Foch in a battle was him and his platoon buddies. Absolutely, were in tier 10s. I think he was in a Death Star, and I was in a Borsig or something like that. And the first shot I took from him was a Hesh shell that went straight through and one-shotted my tank. And his entire platoon mates were firing gold all the time. And, you know, they just absolutely annihilated us. They were top tier tanks, good players, firing premium rounds. Now, people say Foch never fires gold. Well, he did in that game. And then somebody's saying, oh, well, you know, Death Star, it doesn't count firing gold. You know, that's what it's for. I'm sorry, no, it's not. If you have to play, if the tank's only existence is to fire gold, then that's wrong. You know, at the end of the day, the player's choice is to hit that T2 button. It's not because Wargaming insists it is. You know, this whole business about the Chrysler at the moment. You don't have to fire gold. Will it be harder to do damage, to kill things? Yes, probably will. But if you know what you're doing and if you're prepared to work at the game, you don't need to. So this bullshit about you have to fire gold, you don't have to fire gold. Anyway, he makes the point that you ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Which is kind of, I'm paraphrasing here. And this is what he's talking about. So release of even more premium tanks that are better than the regular ones. Now, there's all these Chinese ones which they say aren't coming to anything other than the Chinese server, but we'll see. They're all fantastic by the stats. There's a new German tier 8 heavy tank which is like the VK100-01P but slightly better, it looks like. There's a big box tank Russian TD coming. You know, there's loads and loads. I know somebody who knows somebody. It's terrible, isn't it? I know somebody who knows somebody who's in the Wargaming development team, and I have it on good authority. There is a raft of premium tanks coming, and they are all fantastic. You know, they are all fantastic. They are all designed to make us spend money on the game. They're trying to encourage us to put our hands in our pockets and buy these tanks. He says also these new tanks are more to encourage people to fire gold ammo. Now, I talked about this in another video. I don't really understand the logic of that, because you don't have to spend money to get gold shells, premium shells as we should call them, really, because they're not gold shells. In the old days, yes, you had to buy them and you spent real money on them. Now, if you're a reasonable player and you play enough, good number of games, you've got credits coming out your backside. You can afford to buy some gold shells. So I don't really get this whole business about encouraging, why that matters really. Anyway, that said, there are undoubtedly players, and unfortunately a lot of them are very good players, who go off and just buy masses of gold shells. They'll spend their money, put it into the game, buy gold, and then transfer that into premium ammunition. And I think they're idiots for doing it, but that's the way it is. Nothing to stop them doing it. It is just a game. More removal of frontal weak spots to make players use more gold ammo. Well, we can debate that all we like. Buff of some tanks, making them almost impenetrable to regular ammo. That's what he's saying is coming. And the one that also concerns me hugely and may actually make me stop playing the game is the introduction of bonds and special equipments and consumables in 919. Now, bearing in mind 919 is due to arrive in about a week's time, and this whole business, if you haven't seen this, I suggest you check it out. I think I've done a video on it, other people have done videos on it. This is so there's a new game mode within that, ranked battles. As a result of doing well in ranked battles, you get a special kind of reward, which is called these bonds. They can't be apparently purchased, will not be purchased anywhere else. You can only earn them in ranked battles, and you can use them to buy special equipment, special consumables that basically are better than the standard ones. So you can have a standard gun rammer, for instance, improves the reload time by 10%. The bond version of it will improve it by 15%. and there's new equipment. There's also other things to improve your skills of crew, blah 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 blah. Now, I would not have a big issue with this if you could only use it in ranked battles, but there is nothing to stop using it in strongholds, in clan wars, and in standard battles. So the reality is the players who are going to play ranked battles the most, the ones that are going to get the most bonds, are the best players. Fact. You know, that's the way it'll work, right? We all know that's true. The likes of me and majority of people probably watching this channel, if you're still there, will never play enough to get any significant amount of this equipment. And so the very, very best players, who are already far better than we could ever be, and frankly are usually spamming gold as well, will now have a tank that has a gun rammer that rams 5% quicker than everybody else's. We'll have vents that helps the crew skills by 5% more than everybody else's. You know, and the list goes on. And there's no limit to, you know, how many of these bits of equipment they can buy, and they can put them on any tank. At the moment, ranked battles is only for tier 10s, but you don't have to put that equipment on the tier 10. You can put it on a tier 8, you can put it on a tier 6, you can put it on a friggin' tier 1 if you wanted to. And go around and absolutely troll, because they're better players anyway. They have a tendency to fire gold. I know that's a very great slur on Super Unicorn players, but screw you. My experience is, and you know, I had this discussion again in one of the chat boxes. My experience is that the majority of very, very good players in this game are very, very free with their gold shells. They just are. You know, if you think otherwise, you're living in cloud cookie land. Now, there are some very, very good players who never use gold, and those are the ones I admire, and I'll try and feature them on the channel when I can find them. But they are rare. Majority of good players fire gold. Anyway, and then they're going to have this super equipment, and you go, what is the logic wargaming with that? It just makes no sense at all. And it reminds me very much of, for those who can remember, there was a patch that was due to come in, christened Rubicon, and it was absolutely another PR disaster for wargaming. They were talking about bringing in a system where the emblems and badges that you can buy for your tanks gave enhanced crew skills. And again, people just, you know, up an arm about this, because suddenly you're allowing people to effectively get a fourth slot that gives them a huge advantage against other comparable tanks. And they scrap that idea. But this bond thing seems to be going through, and I just don't get the logic of it. I really don't. Anyway, I certainly commend that article to you. Go and read it. It's very interesting. Certainly the game is at a turning point. There is no doubt at all. Now, as I said before in other videos and earlier here, I have no problem with paying for you know, good quality stuff. However, I don't want it to be completely OTT on everybody else. I don't want to drive people away from the game because they think there's only way they can do it is, you know, by competing on the money side. That's not the point. But, you know, if I'm spending my hard-earned cash, or less hard-earned, but my cash on something that's, you know, fun for me, I want to get something good quality and back in return. I don't want just crap. But it's a balancing act, right? I don't want it to be so good that everyone else goes, well, there's no point in playing, because where's the fun in that? If nobody's playing the game, then why am I playing the game? And, you know, I might as well go and do something else instead. But, you know, there's definitely things are changing in this game. Yeah, not always for the good. So, anyway, as I always say, it is only a game. Try not to take it too seriously. So I talked about this as well in my last ramblings. This is kind of video showing the new new Frontline mode on the Sandbox. So this is, forgive the texturing and everything else, it's not a finished product, but this is the Grand Canyon map that they're trialing in the Sandbox. Sandbox, obviously, for those who don't remember, is a test bed, effectively a pre-test test bed where they can try out all kinds of new ideas. So the idea of the Frontline mode was that it's going to be 30 tanks a side. The first iteration of the Sandbox had a massive map, 9 by 9 kilometers, I mean, huge thing. And then they've introduced two, in the second Sandbox, they've introduced two smaller maps, still bigger than the standard one, but not by the same amount, including this one, which is called Grand Canyon. And it's a map under development, yes, it's, yeah, we get the point. Now, this will still have 30 tanks a side. I've not played the Sandbox, I still can't get on the damn thing. But this, yeah, I have an access rights, but for some reason it's never running when I try to get on it. This map looks kind of intriguing, but the idea of 30 tanks each side on it, it's only slightly bigger than a normal one. Plus it's a corridor with 3 crossing points over. And that just fills me with dread. Basically, you're only going to take a heavy tank here, aren't you? I mean, why else would you do it? Or something with very, very good gun depression. But what's interesting is this sort of almost three-dimensional facet of this tank, this map. It's you know, you've got some really high points, some really interesting nooks and crannies to fight things out in. You can get lost in this frigging map. I mean, look at it. But it's fascinating to see. But why wargaming do we have to have this in Frontline mode? Can't we please have this in a standard battle? Why can't you invest in some new maps? Ah, please. And lesser corridors. Less corridors. Anyway, I thought you'd like to see that. This is a video that Wargaming released showing you what it's all about. And it does look fascinating. I think I saw, was it Quickie Babe played a game which he posted on this, and I won't deny it does look very, very interesting. My first impression of, you know, smaller maps that have less players, have more players, was like, oh my goodness, well, it's going to be awful. But this isn't so bad. This looks fun. It looks an interesting and challenging. And bear in mind, it will have other, you know, terrain and what have you. I'm sure it'll have bushes and goodness and what else. But there you go. Thought you'd be interested. So this is the other. Turn the volume down. The other Frontline mode map. This is Sunny Valley. Again, it's not been textured, it's still map under development. You can see there the symbol, but you can see the way they're going for this. My volume's still a bit loud. There we go. So much wider, bigger, more open as a map. And you know, they'll probably put in more bushes and rocks, one would hope so, because otherwise there's a bit of a sitting duck in the middle there. But I like this map a lot. It's got a lot of options to it. Now remember, you're going to be 30 on 30 in this game, so 30 tanks aside, it's going to be pretty busy, but it's kind of fun. The whole sort of separate castle area over here with a causeway leading across to it. Yeah, I like it. I like this map. I like this map a lot. I wish we had this on the main random games. Wargaming, we need more maps. Please, 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 please. I can't. Just trying to increase the size of the mini map. I can't. It doesn't let me. Nice. So you can see, I think this is an interesting map as well. But Wargaming, why are we only getting these on Frontline? Please, please, please put them on the main game. Put them in randoms. Why can't this be a random map? It's nice, it's big, I'll give you that, but I like a bit of a bigger map. At least then light tanks have a role to play. Anyway, let me know what you think about these two maps. They do look interesting, don't they? Oh, Russian music. God, I love it. So, irony of irony, given what's been going on with all the premium tanks, you couldn't make this shit up. There's a new premium tank in Super Test. A tier 8 premium tank, no less. But no, it isn't Russian. It isn't overpowered American. This is a French tank destroyer. Quite a nice looking thing, actually, for a French tank. Most of them look like they're goblins. So it's the AMX Canon tank destroyer. Tier 8 French tank destroyer. It looks fairly decent. 1000 hit points, armour of 100, 40, 30, shell penetration of 260. Oh my god, back to the high pen jobbies. 320 with premium rounds, 320 average damage, reload time of 12.5 seconds, rate of fire 4.8, aim time of 2. Wow, very nice. DPM is only 1500, so it's pretty low. Accuracy of 0.3 is excellent, so it's got high accuracy, high penetration, reasonable alpha gun by the look of it. Top speed of 55, view range of 360. Interesting. I'm saying nothing. Again, enough trouble talking about premiums and being accused of being a wargaming advocate. Well, I am. I like the game, but I mean wargaming a company. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do we need another premium? And if so, do we need a Frencg TD premium? I think probably if there's a case for a premium, then it's probably in the Frencg TD line, to be honest. Same as I think there'd be a case for a British TD, top tier 8, but yeah, we'll see what the appetite is for a new TD fairly soon. Let me know what you think though. Do you need a Frencg TD? So talking of premiums, that's what we seem to talk about these days. So D's Games, who's a really good YouTuber, thoroughly recommend. If you aren't already watching D's Games, watch his videos. One of the first with the World of Tanks YouTubers and what have you. Really good videos he does. He did one on the top 10 best premiums. This is purely in terms of credit generation. And what he did was he went on to which is the site, VBA Addict or VBaddict.net, where you can look at the stats for recent play in the last sort of 30 days or so. And he went through, which tanks generate the most profit on average per game. And this was the list that he came up with, the top 10. Top 10 was the Patriot. Surprise, 23,311 profit each game on average. What is kind of interesting is actually down here at 4 is the T26E5, the vanilla Patriot, the one without all the stupid camo. And actually that earns 2,800 less credits per game than the Donald Trump mobile here. Interesting, isn't it? Wonder why that is. Funny enough, I swapped mine out and I have a far better record in the Trump mobile than I do in the other one. But I'm much happier because the Trump mobile looks frigging horrible. So second in the charts comes the Steve S1, the Swedish tier 8 tank destroyer, 22,824 credits on average across all games. Revolves comes in third with the tier 8 French medium. Talked about the T26E5. The Lerv, surprisingly, given its new buff a couple of patches ago, comes in very high, 20,441 average, which is actually exactly the same as the Rheinmetall Scorpion. And we always go on about the Scorpion being a little bit overpowered, but look, it's equal on credit generation with the Lerv. Object 252 is down here at what's that, 6th, 7th. Interesting defender, isn't there? So again, weird that it's separated them. T34, the old workhorse of the premium lines, is there. In 8th place, the Pilot, Mr. Average tank, T25 Pilot, and then the only one of the limited matchmaking tanks, FCM50T, comes in at 10th with 19,000 average credits per game. So interesting that. I didn't expect. I find that amazing that the Patriot is different from the bog standard vanilla Patriot, and I find it amazing how high the Lerv is myself. I know it's improved a lot, but that's quite an amazing result. But anyway, thought you'd be interested. Let me know. Does that reflect what you see? So the obviously the grand finals got underway this week, um, and I can't fail to have missed that with all the controversy that went on. Uh, have you ever watched any of it? I mean, it's a rhetorical question because obviously you can't reply because this is a video, right? But so I've only ever watched a little bit of some tournament. I don't even know what it was. And yeah, we've established I'm old and wrinkly, and I don't get this sort of stuff. But I don't get this stuff. Um, I enjoy watching streamers. So a couple of honest John, I think his name is. I really enjoy his streams. I watch when I'm sitting there watching when the missus has got some rubbish on the telly and I don't want to watch it. I'll fire up my iPad and I'll watch his streams if they're on because I find them hugely entertaining. It's an entertainment show. I like his character. I like his approach. I like his banter that goes on between him and his clan buddies as he plays the game. Um, but this stuff, grand finals, it's so serious, and there's no commentary. It's just people in tanks that got garish colours blowing the bejesus out of each other. Probably using premium. I'm not going there. Don't. I mentioned premium. Don't. I think I got away with it. I just don't. Anyway, um, yeah. I don't know. Does anyone watch it? I know Wargaming are really pushing hard for competitive wargaming tournaments to become a big thing, and they've spent a lot of money on it. A lot of this, and esport I know is a huge thing. I'm not that old that I don't know. I do work in the internet world. Esport is a big thing. I know that, but I don't know. World of Tanks street being paid by professional teams. Yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon? Any good? Should I give it a go? What do you reckon?